Just slowly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special edition of my podcast, the No ID Podcast. I have professional wrestler, former Ring of Honor World Television Champion, future Ring of Honor World Champion, no other than Shane Taylor. Say something.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for having me. If you're going to introduce me, though, you're going to have to mention CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions, the baddest of all time, the baddest champ you ever seen. However you want to say it, but you got to make sure you get that in there. If you're leaving stuff out of my intro, then we're getting off on the wrong foot.
I'm sorry, my apologies. Is it okay if I go ahead and start it again?
Listen, everybody gets one.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the No ID Podcast. I have CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions LLC. I have former Ring of Honor television champion, future Ring of Honor world champion, one of my favorite wrestlers. In my opinion, the baddest man to grace the ring of the grace of a ring, a wrestling ring. No other than Mr. Shane Taylor.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Hell of an introduction, my guy. Thank you.
Oh man, no problem, man. So, how? Tell us a little bit about your background and how did you become a professional wrestler? How did you get into wrestling?
Man, kid born on the east side of Cleveland, Ohio. Saw a lot of, had a rough childhood, but family made the best of it. Saw a lot of drugs, gangs, violence. You know what I mean? But that's not, my journey is tough, but it's not unique. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that have gone through that. I just happen to be one of the ones that was fortunate enough to make what kept a lot of us going was professional wrestling. Being able to get together at the family's house. And back then, like there were only like four big pay-per-views a year. It wasn't like how it is now, where it's like one every 2 weeks. Like it was like four big pay-per-views a year. I think it was like Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Mania, and then like maybe King of the Ring or something like that. Um, and so all of my family kind of lived within a few blocks of each other. So each house would get one pay-per-view a year. We would kind of just go over there and watch it, and just for that 2 hours kind of escape and get to live in another world for a bit, and seeing some of those characters, from The Undertaker to Yokozuna to Bam Bam and all the guys back then. Just was really cool to just have that escape. Guys who we considered, superhero, and just really kind of get immersed in all that. And so now that we fast forward all these years later, and this is what I get to do for a living, it's cliche, but it's like living a dream. You know what I mean? But um, I like to use the platform that I have now to tackle not only my sport but also very real issues. Um, because it's one thing to be successful, but it's a whole nother thing to do something with that success.
True. I came up in the when it was transitioning to the Attitude Era, when it was like the four major pay-per-view: SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble,
Mm-hmm.
Royal Rumble, and what's that? WrestleMania, Survivor, and SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. My first pay-per-view was the Owen Hart
Survivor
versus
Series, that was it. Yeah.
it was SummerSlam. My bad. Yeah, you're right. But SummerSlam was the first one I watched when it was Owen Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. The incident that rung him in. He broke his neck. That was the first time the
Mm-hmm.
first pay per view I ever watched. And I've been in love with wrestling. I still watch it currently. Now,
Oh wow.
you debuted it back in 2014. Um, with another favorite wrestler of mine, Keith Lee, and then y'all was a tag team known as the Pretty Boy Killers. How did that come about?
Simple. Me and Keith have a shared philosophy on how we see the sport, on how we see big guys in the sport, on how black men in the sport, and what we are capable of doing. And wrestling for a long traditionalist, very stereotypical type of like marketing scheme to their fan base. Where uh, you are put in a box to where people can look at you and think they know what you are quickly, right? Because that helps people move merchandise. It helps people be able to do a lot of things, right? The problem is not everybody fits inside those boxes. Um, and you're not going to truly get the talent and get everything out of that talent by putting them in a box. And so me and Keith both knew as singles competitors, we were great. As a tag team, there was nobody that was doing what we could do or look like us, right? So just wanted to notion that you had to look a certain way to be a star. You had to dress a certain way. You had to talk a certain way. You had to do and be certain things in order to have a seat at the table, so to speak. And we both kind of just, agreed to the philosophy and the mindset that if you don't save us a seat at the table, we're just going to make our own table or start taking all your chairs, but we're going to have a seat.
And I respect that because I'm not trying to get really political or anything, but I think it's pretty dope to actually see people that look like myself doing those type of things that's out of the realm, and just to name a few, like I said, you, Keith Lee, Booker T, Ron Simmons. I'm gonna even say Cheeseburger.
Mm-hmm.
And just the list is gonna continue. Just going new and old. So back in May of this
year, I mean, and the thing is, right, that it's not really out of our realm. It's just not what people are used to seeing from us because of how things are marketed and because of how stories are told. So it's not out of our realm at all. It's just people think it's new because they're just now getting to see it, and that's just not the case. When people get to know not only Black culture, but the inventions, the advancements, the history made by Black people, they can then understand that we layered individuals just like our counterparts. So it only makes sense to have layered characters. You can't just, it does a disservice to your talent and the fans if you're talking about somebody being from, from Harlem and he's from Atlanta, right? They don't do the same things in Harlem that they do in Atlanta. You know what I mean? You're not going to get the same thing. If you're saying that a guy is from Jamaica and he's from Ghana, you know what I mean? Like if you have marketing ideas, insensitive to culture, you're going to run across these problems when you don't truly take the time to know your talent, understand where they're from, or at least have people around them that can tell you and get that out of them to be able to best utilize your talent.
So, May 9th, right? War of Worlds, triple threat. Okay, you win Honor World Television Championship. Tell me about that moment and how they felt to finally hold that title in your hand. Yeah,
It was a
four-way.
four-way, actually. Myself, Brody King, Jeff Cobb, and Hiroki Goto. Um, it felt great, up until that point, there had only been two African American males to win the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. That's Kenny King and Jay Lethal, two guys who are bona fide legends in Ring of Honor. two guys whose careers and whose legacies I respect, that I chase. Um, as far as being on that all-time list, and it felt like validation for all the years of hard work, all the sacrifice, all the money, um, and to see so many people that have told me what I couldn't be or what I couldn't do, to be able to be a world television champion in a major promotion, um, was sweet revenge. I mean, it was everything that I wanted it to be, and then I go on to be arguably have one of the greatest runs in TV title history. Um, and now here we are, fast forward to next year. And I am on the cusp of making history that only one other man like myself has made, and that's Jay Lethal. And that's winning the Ring of Honor World Championship. So that's where my focus is, along with, leading Shane Taylor Promotions, Khan, Moses, Ron Hunt, O'Shea Edwards, leading my guys into battle and making sure that they walk out with gold this year.
Yes.
Or next year, rather.
Next year, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I don't mean to jump around or anything like that, but what you're doing now, leading your guys into battle to win championships, and I'm gonna have to shout this guy out who is doing something phenomenal in another promotion, which is MVP. What he's doing with the Hurt Business is amazing. Um, to see, like I said, representation of championships around the belts. I mean, the title, excuse me. And also not see that, and I don't mean to get, like I said, get political, does not see the stereotype of, African American get into wrestling and they instantly throw like I don't know, like a thug gimmick or some kind of crazy hip hop gimmick. It's like overly
right.
like that, because just the representation is a lot different, and that's one of.
Oh, of course, I mean, 100%, 100%, and that's again, people. It's crazy because for the buying power that the Black community has,
Mm-hmm.
right? People forget when they run these companies that they have Black fans. Like, I understand what the majority is, and in business you want to market to the majority, you cast the biggest net, I get it, right? But having Black people on your shows is not is just not enough. Having them win secondary championships is cool, it's great, it's a fantastic accomplishment, but at the end of the day, it's just not enough. Everybody deserves to see themselves represented at the top and done in the right way. um, Doing caricatures of what the is not, in my opinion. Um, I'm not going to knock how anybody hustles, how they feed their family. They do what they got to do. I get it. More power to them. But for me, it's just become antiquated. It's become tired. It's become stale to see the same five characters over and over and over again for the last 50 plus years. Like, um, to me, and you're starting to see people change that dynamic with, guys like the Hurt Business. It's fantastic to see. New Day is out of the box. Um, my guys in Shane Taylor Promotions and myself out of the box. Keith Lee out of the box, to be able to showcase and let people know exactly what we can do and what we're all about. We are just as talented. We are just as creative. We have just as many layers. We have just as much depth as our counterparts. I am proud to be one of the people leading that message going into 2021. Is that we're here and we can do it all, including lead companies.
Exactly, and I respect um you fighting so much, fighting in a big major promotion like that, for Ring of Honor, man. And like they before, and I'm just being honest, before it came to local television, you would hear about it on the online blogs, and then when it finally came over, um, when it finally came over to local television here in Virginia, I gravitated towards you. Of course, Jay Lethal. Um, oh man, Jay Lethal was awesome. He still is awesome. Excuse me. And just seeing somebody outside of that realm and out that box was amazing. But I know we've gotten tired. I know I personally have gotten tired with certain products doing the same representation of the, like I said, the thug, the hip hop artist. Um, they portray them in certain stereotypes. But like, I'm not gonna knock anybody from putting food on their table. I'm not gonna knock anybody for their giving. But what you're doing in Ring of Honor and what you're doing with Shane Taylor Promotions is amazing, brother. And I would love, and I cannot wait to actually see you walk down that ramp to that wrestling ring, and you actually have the world championship title on your waist. I really look forward to it.
I mean, that's the goal. You know what I mean? I take a lot of pride in who I am. I take a lot of pride in my culture. I take a lot of pride in entertaining everybody and being someone, you know, as some sort of inspiration, but I know where my responsibility is. Um, and that's to my peers, elders, people younger than me to be able to look at me, see themselves in me, and me do things the way that I believe that they should be done, which is the right way. Um, but again, that's my opinion, but that's what I take a lot of pride in. Um, and I just really enjoy the fact that the fans of Ring of Honor, my fans especially, tend to really understand that, um, and they support it and they're getting behind it, um, as well as wanting to see me succeed and earning that. Uh, to me, there's nothing better. So we're just gonna keep doing what we do. We're gonna keep leading by example. We're gonna keep trying to shatter that glass ceiling.
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
Shane Taylor Promotions is the group and the movement that is truly for the people.
Most definitely. So, who were some of your influences growing up as far as wrestling goes? Like, who was that person or who was that group of people that actually you watched and studied, and you was like, man, I can do this, and they've mentored you in more ways than one.
Um, there's been a few, right? I mean, like I've never been a guy with like a six pack, right? So like I never really related to guys like Warrior or Orndorff, although they're talented guys. I just never saw myself being like them. But once I saw guys like Vader or Stan Hansen and just being big bad dudes that just beat people, I was like, okay, that I can do. Really enjoying watching their film, their matches in Japan, and watching guys like Taker who have an incredible presence, watching the drive and determination of a guy like Ron Simmons, um, the entertainment value of a guy like The Rock, you know what I mean? The athleticism of a Shelton Benjamin. There's just so many things, so many people that have influenced me, but a lot of my stuff too comes not just from wrestling, but from boxing because me and my family are huge boxing fans. All my uncles, my dad, all Golden Gloves, you know what I mean? Like, so boxing is in our family. So I take huge lessons from the in-ring tenacity of Mike Tyson, the um, leadership and the social responsibility, the community responsibility that Ali had, to step out, face the brunt of all judgment, all hate, all harassment, in doing the right thing and being that guy to say, I'll step out, I'll be the change, I'll be the guy to look to. Um, I have huge respect for that. And then, of course, um, the showmanship and the ability to entertain that Floyd Mayweather brings to his fights and to his sport. So taking three of those men, whose ideology I share in different aspects and combining them into one individual, and you get Shane Taylor.
Mike Tyson's. I love Mike Tyson. What did you think about the fight with
Mm.
him and Roy Jones Jr.? Did you get a chance to watch it?
I did, and it was cool. I mean, I feel like going into it, we knew what it was. That it, a fight just for nostalgia, you know, just to see some of our heroes back in the ring again. I didn't think that Tyson was gonna try anything crazy to like KO Roy. You know what I mean? So, well, that was the fear that he didn't. You know what I mean? So, um, I thought it was cool, man. It was cool to see them both in there again, just doing their thing. Uh, I'm hearing that there's supposed to be a Tyson Holyfield 3. I don't know. That could be cool, but we'll see, man. Props to both of them for getting paid and putting on a show for the fans, and we'll see what happens.
Props to him. I love to fight. I grew up um, a big Roy Jones Jr. fan. I remember buying the
Mm,
music, watching his music video, him rapping, going towards the ring, rapping in the ring. Uh, the Yeah, and I know he's influenced a lot of people out there as well too. But he was one of the ones that I gravitated more towards, and him and Bernard Hopkins, of course. So I can't forget about the executioner.
yeah, B Hop was the guy, bro. B Hop was a fucking killer, bro.
B Hop was the man. You know what I mean? And that's what B Hop. Oh man, I'm not going down memory. I can go down memory lane, but I remember like when we had HBO, me and my father will wait to Sunday the next day to actually see like the fights because HBO will play them like on pay per view, but then on Sunday they'll do like the free version on the HBO channel, and we'll just watch those fights consistent.
Which I never understood. That's a horrible business practice. Like, what incentive do I have to buy your pay per view the night before if I know you're going to play it for free tomorrow? It makes no sense.
I loved it though, man. Yeah, it got me through some. It brought us like closer. Then of course they stopped doing it that way, and
Oh no, no, that's phenomenal. I'm simply talking about the practice for HBO, right? Like, if I said, "Hey, if you buy this T-shirt from me today, I'll sell it to you for $20. But if you wait until tomorrow, it's free."
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, which, like, oh well, I'll just wait till tomorrow. There's no incentive for me to buy this right now. You know what I mean? If I just wait, it'll be free. That's all I'm talking about. But the fact that it brought you and your dad
yeah,
closer,
man.
that's
A lot
awesome.
of stuff, man. My father was a big influence in my life, man. Like I do stand up comedy. He went to the first. I went to comedy school. He actually paid for half of my
Mm,
comedy school. The podcast. He paid for the mic. He helped pay for the
mm,
equipment. He's been a support. My mom, she's a comedian. She's been in and out. And what's crazy is my mom isn't really a sports person. So when I actually called and told her, I said,
right.
"Look, I got Shane Taylor from Ring of Honor. I watch him 10 o'clock on every Saturday um, on TV." And I showed her the pictures. I know him. I know him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Really?" She's like, "I see him." I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's how for my mom to watch
Hey,
you and know who you are.
hey, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. Like, it's
Mhm.
crazy, right? Because I don't see myself as being anything other than a kid from the east side of
Uh-huh.
Cleveland, Ohio, right? So it I get lost to the fact that my name, my face, what I do travels as far as it does sometimes. And like I'll get messages from people all across the world, Honduras to Jamaica, Australia, like all over the world. And I'm like, how do you know who I am? You know what I mean? Like it's cool, but to hear, to have people, have those experiences and know who I am and appreciate what I do, that's just a blessing. You know what I mean? Hopefully I'm able to do this for a long, long time still. And just continue to have
Yeah.
that.
Like I said, man, if you can get my mom out of all people, and it's 10 o'clock at night. And, her bedtime's at 9,
Hey,
and she doesn't. She doesn't.
hey, we doing something right. We doing something right.
Matter of fact, Deborah. Oh, she ain't gonna come. She's scared. She don't want to come up here.
You know that what wasn't gonna happen. She's like, boy, no, stop.
Well, once again, I appreciate you. Blessed me with the interview. I look for. I already know 2021 and the future of wrestling and Ring of Honor is in your cups right now, man. Like I said, I'm really hoping that title that title comes around your waist, brother. I really do. I have a friend that actually is trying to
I
break into the industry. I actually interviewed him on a previous season, King Benji Banks, um, and we had some insight as well about wrestling as well. We went to elementary school with each other. We used to play Power Rangers all the time, and we used to talk about wrestling. But I never, I was good at telling jokes. I wasn't good at the physical stuff. I'm good at the jokes. I'm not good at. That's all I can do is make you laugh.
got you you gotta find your lane, man.
Yeah,
Gotta
man.
find your lane.
Is there anything that you want to sign off on, and I mean that you want to say before we end?
I just want to thank everybody for listening, for watching. Thank you for supporting me for the last 13 years. The fans have been able to allow me to have a fantastic lifestyle, to be able to take care of my family. Um, that means more than I could ever express to you guys. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Shane216Taylor. Um, Everybody have a happy, safe, and healthy New Year's Eve. Be careful. And here's to a better 2021. Thank you all very
Thank you so
much.
much, and make sure you guys like, share, comment, subscribe to No ID Podcast, available on multiple platforms. Follow me at Wrong Thanks on Instagram and Twitter. Follow the podcast at No ID Podcast. Make sure you follow Shane at Mr. Shane Teller, CEO of Shane Teller Promotions, future Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion at Shane Teller 216. Excuse me, Shane 216 Taylor. The baddest man on the planet, baddest man in the ring.
Yes, sir.
Make sure y'all follow him. And when you get a chance, check out Ring of Honor. Check out some of his matches. He's had some phenomenal matches. I know one of his best. One of my favorite matches was you and Kenny King match that you guys had. And just to see two people in
Well,
the
thank you, man.
ring looking like me was just inspiration. And I'm pretty sure I have a smaller cousin. He just turned 10. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be watching this because he's a big fan as well too. So once again, make sure you follow us, support everything that's going on, man. And Shane, I appreciate you, brother, for giving me the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Anytime.
All right, man. Be safe.
All right. Peace.